My sister uninvited me to her wedding, saying, "This is only for the people who love me, not judge me." I stared at her and said, "Then why did you copy my entire wedding plan down to the dress?" Her bridesmaids looked nervously at each other. "You said you designed it," one cried. "She did," I said, holding up the patent papers. "I was at the shop arranging peonies when I got the email that blew up everything." It was just past 4:30 p.m. The sun was starting to dip behind the big oak across the street, and my shop smelled like eucalyptus and lemon balm. I'd just finished talking to a bride about what kind of florals she wanted for her spring wedding, sunflowers and wild greenery, when my phone buzzed. From Brielle Sutton, subject, the wedding message: "Callie, I've decided it's best if you don't come to the wedding. This day is for people who love and support me unconditionally. I haven't felt that from you. I wish you the best and hope you understand." I read it twice, then 3 times, and then once more slower, as if that would somehow make the words change into something less insane. I sat there on the stool behind the counter, in my apron with my hands still sticky with floral tape and sap, and all I could think was, "Are you kidding me?" I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even call her. I just sat there stunned, like someone had smacked me in the face with a bouquet of thorns. You have to understand, Brielle is my little sister. 4 years younger, always the firecracker. We grew up in a small house in Sharonville, Ohio, where our parents ran a little antique store and played Fleetwood Mac on vinyl while we played dress up. I helped raise her when Mom got sick for a while. I did her hair for her first school dance. I helped her write her college application essays. We weren't just sisters. We were best friends. Until we weren't. The change wasn't overnight. It never is. But somewhere in her late 20s, Brielle got addicted to a certain kind of lifestyle. You know the type: curated Instagram posts, flat-lay breakfasts, spontaneous selfies that took 3 hours to stage. Suddenly, everything was about aesthetics. She started flipping houses with her boyfriend, now fiancé Devin, and their feed became a mood board of reclaimed wood and matte black appliances. She called it branding. I called it exhausting. But still, I loved her. I supported her. So when she got engaged and asked me to help plan her wedding, I said yes. Of course I said yes. I own a flower shop and do part-time event planning. I'd planned dozens of weddings and events, including my own, which, if I may say, was beautiful. Minimalist, elegant, personal. I had sketched my own dress, chose a soft ivory silk with embroidered vines along the hem. I'd custom designed the arrangements with winter berries and eucalyptus. It even got a feature in Cincy style and bridal. I put my heart into that wedding, and I poured the same into helping Brielle. But then things got weird. She said she wanted something unique, but everything she liked was something I'd done. "Can we do the ceremony under a willow tree like yours? I saw this color palette somewhere. I think I'll use it. Can you call your old seamstress? I love that neckline." I brushed it off at first. Sisters influence each other, right? But then she asked for the exact fabric sample I used. Then the same venue. Then she showed me a sketch for her dress. That looked exactly like mine, down to the embroidered vines on the hem. I said cautiously, "That's pretty similar to what I wore." She smiled. "Is it? I don't remember yours exactly." That was a lie. She had my wedding album saved on her phone. I'd seen it when we were scrolling through photos 2 weeks earlier. Still, I didn't confront her. I let it slide. Maybe she really just loved the style. Maybe she was overwhelmed and grasping at what she knew worked. Then the email came. After I read it, I just sat there, staring at my phone while my assistant Jody came out from the back room. "You okay?" she asked, tying her apron. I handed her my phone without a word. She read it, eyes widening. "Is this for real?" "Dead serious," I said flat. "But you're her maid of honor." Was. Jonah, my husband, came by the shop a few hours later to help me close. I showed him the email. He read it in silence, jaw clenched. "She uninvited you from the wedding you planned for her? Apparently, I don't love and support her unconditionally." He scoffed. "That's rich." We went home in silence. That night, I stared at the ceiling for hours. The next few days were surreal. No phone call from Brielle. No explanation. Just radio silence. My parents were confused but stayed out of it. They'd learned long ago that stepping into our fights was like poking a beehive with a stick. Then I got a text from Talia. Talia was one of Brielle's bridesmaids, and she and I had always gotten along. She was a graphic designer, sharp as a tack, and not one to get caught up in drama. "Hey, just wanted to check in. I'm sorry about everything. But I've got to ask, did you design your wedding dress? Brielle showed us hers today. It looks exactly like yours." My stomach dropped. I responded, "I have the patent." Because I did. After my wedding, my designer friend had encouraged me to patent the design, mostly as a keepsake, a look what you created kind of gesture. It wasn't a legal fortress, but it was mine, and she stole it. I didn't text Brielle. I didn't call. I just waited. 3 days later, the wedding happened. I stayed home. Jonah cooked steak and mashed potatoes, poured me a glass of red wine, and said, "Don't be around fake people." I smiled, but I was seething inside. Then the photos started pouring in. And it was my wedding. Same archway. Same bouquet. Same color scheme. Same floor plan. Same. Damn. Dress. I was livid. But I didn't rage post. I didn't make a scene. I waited until the right moment. That came sooner than I thought. Brielle invited the bridal party over for a post-wedding wine and unwind night at her place. Talia invited me to stop by for just a minute and said the other girls were curious too. So I did. I showed up in jeans and a hoodie, hair in a bun, no makeup. Brielle opened the door and looked like she'd seen a ghost. "Callie," she said, blinking. "I didn't know you were coming." "I just came to drop something off," I said, walking past her. Talia gave me a subtle nod. The room was quiet. I handed Brielle a manila envelope. "For you." She opened it. Her smile vanished. "What is this?" she asked. "Patent documents," I said simply. "For the dress you claim to design." Silence. Talia looked at the paper. "Wait. You said you designed it." "She did," I said. "I have dated sketches, fabric swatches, and the original invoice. You didn't tweak it. You copied it." Brielle's face was red. "Are you here to humiliate me?" "No," I said. "I'm here to reclaim what's mine. You were jealous from the beginning." "No," I snapped. "I was supportive from the beginning. Until you kicked me out of the wedding I helped plan, or the dress I created, and told people it was your design. That's not jealousy, Brielle. That's betrayal." No one spoke. She tried to say something else, but I was done. I walked out, the door clicking shut behind me. I didn't look back. I didn't hear from Brielle for 3 days. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a passive-aggressive Instagram story. I wasn't surprised, but it still made me feel hollow. I'd spent 34 years watching over her, cheering her on, cleaning up her messes. I knew she could be selfish, dramatic, even cruel when pushed, but I never thought she'd go this far. It wasn't about the dress anymore. It was about how disposable I suddenly was. Jonah was quiet about it. He'd seen the look on my face when I came home that night, not angry, not victorious, just tired. He didn't ask questions, just brought me tea and pulled a blanket around my shoulders while we watched some dumb renovation show we'd seen 100 times. "You know," he said finally, "people like her. They always get found out." "I don't care about found out," I muttered. I cared about her. 2 more days passed. Then, my phone buzzed while I was elbow deep in tulips at the shop. It was Devin. Devin. I wiped my hands, stared at the screen for a long second, then hit answer. "Hey," I said carefully. There was a pause. Then his voice, low and hesitant. "Hey, Callie. I wasn't sure if I should call, but I figured I owed you something." I swallowed hard. "You don't owe me anything." "I think I might." Silence stretched. I could hear him breathing. "She told me you were being difficult," he said eventually. "That you wanted to control everything, and that you were upset she didn't pick you for the maid of honor." I blinked. She did pick me, and then uninvited me altogether. She didn't tell me that. I sat down on the little stool behind the front counter. "Well," I said, "she didn't just borrow my wedding ideas. She stole them, and told people she designed it all." He sighed. "Yeah." I figured something was off when Talia and Harper started asking questions. "Then someone sent me a picture from your wedding. The dress, the arch, the damn centerpieces." "Devin, I don't need you to take sides." "I'm not taking sides," he said. "I just want the truth. That's all." There was a pause. "I'm not trying to blow up your marriage," I said gently. "I'm not even sure we had one to begin with," he replied. That sat with me for the rest of the day. Longer, actually. Over the next few weeks, the wedding glow started to dim. Not just because the flowers were wilting or the hashtags were fading, but because the cracks were starting to show. I got little texts here and there. From friends. Cousins. A coworker of hers. Quiet ones. Curious ones. "Hey, didn't you have eucalyptus and dusty pink for your wedding too? I could have sworn that was your bouquet. Did Brielle really say she designed that dress?" I didn't feed the fire. I answered honestly, calmly, and without venom. I didn't have to exaggerate. The truth was dramatic enough. Talia texted me late one night. I tried to defend her, Callie. But she doubled down again today. Said you were trying to sabotage her marriage out of jealousy. I wrote back, "I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm just not covering for her anymore." Still, part of me felt sick. Not angry. Not even betrayed anymore. Just sad. exhausted. This was my sister. And then one afternoon, while I was restocking vases in the back room, my mom showed up at the shop. No call. No warning. She just walked in, sat down at the front counter like she used to when I first opened the place, and waited. I came out, saw her, and my heart sank. Mom. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Hey honey, everything okay? I thought we should talk. I hesitated. About. She tapped her nails on the counter. She always did that when she was trying to stay calm. I don't know what's going on between you and Brielle, she said slowly. But she's hurting. And you're hurting. And it's breaking my heart. I leaned against the doorframe. She uninvited me from her wedding, I said. After copying every inch of mine. And then she told people she created it all herself. I know, Mom said. That surprised me. She told me her version. Then I started seeing the photos. And I remembered yours. Your dress. Your bouquet. I even remember you crying when the seamstress finally got the sleeves just right. I felt a lump in my throat. She won't admit it, I said. No, Mom agreed. But that doesn't make it less true. We had quite a moment. Then she stood up. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm just asking you not to forget she's still your sister. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because at that moment, I wasn't sure what Brielle was to me anymore. A few days later, I ran into Harper, another bridesmaid, at the local farmer's market. She spotted me by the honey stand and walked over sheepishly. Hey, she said. Hey. She looked nervous. I just wanted to say, I didn't know. About the dress. About all of it. I feel like an unholy. I shook my head. You didn't do anything wrong. I should have seen it. I mean, we all had your wedding photos saved when we helped plan hers. But we didn't think she'd literally. It doesn't matter, I said quickly. It's done. No, it's not, she said. Not for her. People are talking. I'm not trying to ruin her life. Harper looked down, then up at me with a grim expression. I think she might be doing that on her own. That weekend, Jonah and I went out of town. Just 2 days up to Hocking Hills. No phones, no family, no drama. Just trees, fresh air, and the sound of our own breathing. Lying on the cabin porch swing, I asked him, do you think I was cruel? He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. You mean to defend yourself? For showing up that night. With the patent. For making it public. He shook his head. You didn't go public. She did. The moment she told people that dress was hers, she made it a public lie. All you did was bring the truth. I still wasn't sure if that was entirely true, but I needed to believe it. We came back Monday, and I went straight to the shop. That afternoon, Talia stopped by with coffee. You might want to sit down, she said. Now what? She hesitated. Devin moved out. I froze. What? He moved out. Said it was temporary, but I don't think he's coming back. I sat slowly on the edge of the workbench. Talia continued. I think he finally saw who she really is. I didn't say anything. Not because I was gloating. I wasn't. Because deep down, I was afraid she might actually break this time. And I didn't know whether I'd be able to watch it happen. After Talia left, I didn't do much. I didn't text Brielle. Didn't check her socials. Didn't gossip with anyone about what Devin had done. I just stood in the middle of my flower shop, surrounded by bundles of hydrangeas and orchids, and wondered how something that started with love could twist itself into something so ugly. I must have looked like I was deep in a trance because Jody waved a pair of scissors in front of my face and said, You okay? Nope, I said. Wanna grab tacos after close? Now that's the most emotionally stable thing you've said all day. We ended up at a little joint 2 blocks down. We ate at a wobbly patio table under string lights. I told her what Talia had said about Devin leaving. She exhaled slowly. That's rough. Yeah. But, I mean, come on. You could see it, right? She wanted a wedding. Not a marriage. I stirred my guacamole. I think she wanted both. She just wanted them on her terms. Even if her terms meant bulldozing her sister? I didn't answer. Because truthfully, I wasn't sure Brielle had set out to hurt me. It was worse than that. I think I'd become invisible to her. That Friday, Mom invited us all over for dinner. I didn't say yes right away. But something in her voice, tired, gentle, trembling around the edges, made me agree. When I got there, the table was set like Thanksgiving. Real plates. Cloth napkins. My dad was carving roast chicken like it was a damn turkey. I could feel the tension the second I walked in. Brielle was already there. Sitting at the far end of the table, next to Mom, looking like she'd aged a year in a week. Her eyes were puffy. Her mouth was tight. She didn't look angry. She looked scared. I sat on the opposite end. We said nothing to each other. Dinner started awkwardly. Small talk. Dad asked about the flower shop. Mom asked about Jonah's teaching job. Brielle mostly picked at her food. Then finally Mom set her fork down and said, "This isn't working." Dad sighed. "Joan." "No, this isn't working," she repeated. "I didn't invite you here for chicken. I invited you here because this family is falling apart. And I'm tired." She looked at both of us. "Fix it. Or don't. But say what needs to be said." We were quiet for a long, long moment. Finally, Brielle whispered, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." I looked up at her. "Then why didn't you stop?" "I don't know." That answer hurt more than anything. "I thought you loved my wedding," I said, almost to myself. "I thought you respected what I did." "I did," she said, voice shaking. "I loved it so much, I wanted it. But I didn't want to admit that I couldn't come up with something better on my own." I blinked, stunned. I was overwhelmed. Devin didn't help. He just wanted it to look good for social media. He didn't care if it was meaningful, as long as it looked expensive. And I started spiraling. I didn't feel good enough. And the one thing I knew people loved was your wedding. So I copied it. I knew it was wrong, but I told myself it was a compliment. "A compliment," I repeated flatly. "I'm sorry." I crossed my arms. "You told people you designed it." She looked down. That was the lie I couldn't walk back. I panicked. Talia asked where I got the sketch and I said it was mine. I thought if I told the truth, everyone would think I was pathetic. "Everyone thought you were pathetic because you lied." "I know," she said, her voice breaking. "I know, Callie. I ruined everything." She started crying. Not the dramatic, loud kind. The quiet kind. The kind where your chest caves in and you can't look anyone in the eye. I didn't move. I wanted to. Part of me wanted to go to her and pull her into a hug and tell her it was okay. That we'd move on. But I couldn't. Not yet. Because something had changed. Not just between us, but in me. For the first time, I realized that Brielle's apology wasn't just about the dress or the wedding. It was about all the little moments where she'd made me small to feel bigger. All the time she took without giving. All the years I carried her messes while pretending they didn't weigh me down. I was tired. Mom said softly, "Callie, please." "I need time," I said. And I meant it. Not to punish her. Not to be cruel. But because forgiveness is a process. It's not just a word. It's a series of decisions. And I wasn't ready to make them yet. The next few weeks were strange. Brielle didn't reach out. I didn't either. But we circled each other indirectly. Through mutual friends, awkward updates from our parents, glimpses on social media that felt more invasive than enlightening. Devin never moved back in. Apparently, they were taking space, though everyone had their theories. Some said he left because he was embarrassed. Some said because the trust was gone. I had my own opinion, but I kept it to myself. One afternoon, I was working late at the shop when I heard the bell over the door jingle. I turned around. It was Devin. He looked exhausted. More tired than I'd ever seen him. "Hey," he said quietly. "Hey." He looked around at the arrangements. Hydrangeas, roses, bundles of eucalyptus. Then back at me. "Still smells amazing here. Thanks." He rubbed the back of his neck. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry." "For what?" "For not listening sooner. For letting her drag you through the mud. For pretending I didn't see what was happening." I nodded slowly. "I appreciate that. She's a mess right now." I figured. "She's not all bad," he added. "But she's got a lot of stuff to work through. And I think maybe she's got to do it without me." "Are you leaving her?" He was quite a long time. I think I already did. Later that night, I found myself sitting in the back office of my shop, staring at an old photo of me and Brielle on my wedding day. She had her arm around me. Her smile was real. Not filtered. Not for show. That girl, the one in the photo, she loved me. I know she did. I just don't know if she's still in there. But maybe there's still time to find out. 2 months passed. At that time, Brielle went quiet on social media. Her perfect wife era posts faded, replaced by moody inspirational quotes and the occasional vague selfie. Devin moved into a condo across town. The word divorce hadn't been used yet, but everyone knew where it was heading. I stayed in my lane. Ran the shop. Took long walks with Jonah in the evenings. Cried a few times, usually alone, never for long. I was healing, not from the betrayal really, but from the years of letting someone else shrink me to fit their world. Then one morning I got a letter. Not a text. Not an email. A letter. Handwritten. From Brielle. It was short. She said she knew I still didn't trust her and maybe never would again. She said she wasn't proud of what she'd done, but she wasn't ready to face me in person. She asked if I'd ever be willing to meet. No pressure. Just coffee. Some places are neutral. I folded the letter and put it in the drawer. A week later, I said yes. We met at the little bakery on Lexington. the one with flaky croissants and burnt caramel lattes. She wore sunglasses too big for her face and looked smaller than I remembered. Not physically, just emotionally. I'm not gonna give a speech, she said right away. I raised an eyebrow. That's already a speech. She laughed once, sharp and awkward. Right. She took off her sunglasses and met my eyes. I was awful to you, she said. And I didn't realize how much until everything blew up. Devon's gone. Most of the bridesmaids won't answer my texts. And for the first time, I'm realizing how fake everything was. I tried to build a wedding out of other people's lives. Yours mostly. But I didn't build a marriage. I nodded slowly. I guess She trailed off, then tried again. I wanted what you had. But I didn't want to do the work to build it. You could have asked, I said. I would have helped. I always helped. She looked down. I know. We sat in silence for a minute. Then I reached into my bag and slid something across the table. She frowned, then picked it up. It was a brochure. For a bridal conference coming to Columbus next month. Local love, authentic weddings, real women, real stories. And right there on the speaker list was my name. Callie Edwards, floral designer, wedding consultant, creative entrepreneur. Panel, how to build a wedding that reflects who you really are. Her mouth dropped open. You're speaking. I am. She blinked. You've never done stuff like this before. No, I said. But apparently, when someone tries to pass off your ideas as their own and enough people notice, they start asking who the original designer was. Wow. I smiled, just a little. They asked if I'd ever consider helping design other people's weddings. I figured. Why not? Might as well turn a bad experience into something useful. She looked at the brochure again, then met my eyes. So this is your revenge? No, I said gently. This is my closure. I stood up, picked up my coffee, and gave her a long look. You always said I judged you, I added. But I didn't. I just saw you clearly. And maybe that's what scared you. She didn't say anything. I left the bakery with a lightness in my chest I hadn't felt in years. The panel was packed. I wore a simple navy dress and stood in front of a room of future brides and planners and creatives. I talked about the pressure to impress, the social media perfection trap, and the difference between inspiration and imitation. I once had someone I loved deeply, I said, take something very personal to me and try to pass it off as their own. At first, it broke me. But then I realized something. She only copied it because it was good. Because it was real. And real can't be replicated. Only borrowed. Poorly. The room was silent. A few women nodded slowly. One wiped her eyes. After the talk, people lined up to talk to me. I love your story. That was so raw. Do you do consultations? I said yes to everything. Because I was finally ready to stop hiding behind someone else's spotlight. Brielle texted me a few days later. You were amazing. I watched the recording online. I'm proud of you. I waited a while. Then I wrote back, thank you. I hope you find your own thing too. She replied with just one word, trying. And honestly, that was enough.